Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's Midday Western U.S. Regional Forecast video brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, after a summer where we didn't talk very much about fires, we talked more about how full our reservoirs are and how good things looked, in terms of weather conditions throughout much of this year. Well, we finally had a week where the weather variables kind of came together to make kind of the perfect situation for fire risk. And here we're looking at a satellite image just yesterday of some of the bigger fires that were in parts of California. Now, some of the problems with this have been the extremely low humidity values. And as we get winds that come from the east and have to go over the mountains, once they get into the Central Valley, our relative humidities have no trouble getting down into the single digits. So once again, by the time we get into late this afternoon and this evening here on Friday, we will be seeing our relative humidities in the single digits to the teens through this area, and then down here as you get more toward the LA basin, we're talking about some of these relative humidities are right there around 2 to 3%, and that is incredibly low relative humidity. Today, in terms of our wind threat, this is looking at maximum wind gusts here in the day on Friday. This is a little bit better picture than we've painted recently. We do see that we'd still have some strong winds up here in parts of the Sacramento Valley, and I think our strongest wind area is going to be down here, again, getting toward the southern end of the San Joaquin Valley and into the LA Basin, where we could see some wind gusts here that are approaching 25 to 35 miles an hour. But the big question is, are we going to continue to deal with this problem? Well, the low humidity side of things, absolutely yes, we are, but the winds are going to be changing a little bit. We can take a look first here at what we're expecting over the next couple of days in terms of where that smoke is going to go. So you can see today the smoke will be spreading through parts of the Sacramento Valley and into kind of the Central Valley of California there. We are keeping a close eye on these fires that are just north of LA here, as well as being potentially problematic. We can watch this again one more time just to see where that smoke will be throughout the day today and getting into the day on Saturday. So good news is things are changing. Although the humidity stays low, it's the winds that are changing with time. And I'm going to show you that. So this is going to be an animation. I'm just going to play this out quickly. It's going to go out through our next 60 hours in the forecast here, so the next few days. And what I want you to just to notice is we're getting rid of these color shades, the ones that are here above that 15-mile-an-hour mark. So as you see it play forward, it's what you don't see. We get away from the extremely fast winds. We still have the low humidity, but the strong winds are left offshore, which is going to help reduce our major fire threat. So that's at least some good news for California. Stepping north here into the northwest, what we've been dealing with while it's been so hot and so very, very dry in California has been the effect of that deeper trough. These were yesterday morning, so this is Thursday morning low temperatures, and you can see that through the Columbia Basin, through the Snake River Valley, we saw our temperatures once again not just getting to the freezing mark, but plummeting far below that. So very, very cold air, and of course here in the central part of Oregon, cold as well. We did have patchy frost here along the Willamette Valley, where we see our stations giving us 34 degrees, but in some of the lower elevations we got down there below freezing. So this has been a very cold set of days here, and it has brought an abrupt end to a lot of what we're doing here in the Pacific Northwest. So just to keep on that theme, I want to show you at least what our minimum daily temperatures look like in the coming days. So this is our Friday morning low. So I'm recording this just before the sun rises out here out west. So we will see our temperatures once again bottom out in the Columbia Basin back below freezing, Snake River Valley back below freezing, and parts of Northern California back below freezing. The Willamette Valley, I think it's a little bit warmer night than what we saw. But as we play this forward, let's see how things change as we get into the Saturday morning lows, which are about right here. So some slight moderation in temperatures, although you still see, look at this over here by like Idaho Falls in this region, temperatures once again getting down there into the teens. But as we get through the weekend, this is Sunday morning lows, Monday morning lows, Tuesday, next Wednesday, and then we'll take you on out to next Thursday. We do have some moderation, but overall during this time period, we don't see much of a chance at getting above average temperatures anytime soon, and that is all dictated by what's going on in the Pacific jet stream. The Pacific jet stream is also giving us this, so let's just get a snapshot of our next 15 days. We're going to have to be watching the Pacific Northwest for being on the wetter side of things. I'm going to talk to you about the timing of these systems coming through, but because of that same flow pattern, look at this, compared to normal, and this is about the time of year we start to see precipitation chances increase from north to south in California, we do pick up on a bit of a drier bias in California as well. So let's take a look at this by watching precipitable water. Now we're going to watch this all fall, winter, and spring long because this will telegraph to us where the moisture is coming from and when it will arrive and what we should anticipate in terms of the amount. So precipitable water, a generic definition of this is how much water is in the atmosphere. That should all of it be rained out or snowed out. What do we get? So we're looking for these values that get up here above an inch or 2 inches. And you can see these ribbons of high precipitable water that we watch all the time in the West. So as we get through the weekend, it seems as though much of the precip and the heavier, the higher amounts of moisture stay offshore. But I want you to watch things reload for about the 14th, 15th, 16th. Do you see this? So there's clearly a low moving through the Gulf of Alaska. And on the south side of it, we're going to be first bringing in that high moisture value here to British Columbia. But you're going to see as we get through Monday into Tuesday, now we've got that ribbon of moisture really taking aim here on the coastal parts of Oregon and Washington. And that, as it gets over the mountains right in through here, brings in, I know it doesn't look like it's high amounts, but this is high precipitable water for this time of year. And so we got a wet, basically 14th through the 16th of next week. We then get another push that comes through around the 17th, 18th, see it right in through there. But then we do get a bit of a dry down while we're waiting on this next big feature. Here it is on the 20th and 21st, kind of trying to come in here. And so there's a lot of stuff going on when we look at these precipitable water animations. Now, please understand, I'm pretty far out there in the forecast, but I want you to notice that even out here to day 12, we still see a big push of moisture coming in. So the Pacific Northwest is going to be under the gun while you can see the drier air to the south of it here in California. Okay, what does it all mean? Well, let's just play things out for you. This is starting off on Friday morning, so things have cleared out. All the mess is in the middle part of the country. As we play it forward, let's just take you back here real quick. We're going to be watching our weekend start off relatively dry through much of the western region. We will see that by Saturday evening, Sunday morning, okay, that'll be about the time period that I'll keep an eye on parts of Oregon and Washington, but not much going on here. The real show begins once we get into Monday evening. So there we are. This is Monday evening, the 14th. There is that push of moisture, like we said, taking aim in British Columbia first. But then watch, it finally pushes in here by the 15th. And now we're talking about some heavy rainfall, quite a bit of accumulation here on the windward side of the mountains. And that system then gets across right there by the time we get to the 17th. So like we said, 14th through the 17th, that's midweek next week. We're watching for that big push of moisture coming on shore. And this low comes right out after dumping some snow here in the northern Rockies and then gets into the Central Plains. But behind it, we got another push right there. So this is the 18th. Friday the 18th, another chance at some push of moisture coming in there. So that takes you out to about day 8 here in the forecast, and you can see things are remaining very active in the Pacific Northwest, while California really avoids a lot of this precipitation in the near term. So if I had to pin down a time period that's most active, I'll call it the day 4 through 10 time period. So again, we can think about that as, you know, as being the 14th through about the 20th, all right? And that time period here, watch out for additional precipitation. Remember, this area had one of its wettest Septembers on record. I've got good support from the GFS, which is over here, and this is the European model picking up on that wetter bias. Again, California, you're too far to the south to get in on this. That's why we see the drier bias there. Now, as we look forward in terms of understanding the flow pattern of the atmosphere and temperatures, watch this again with me. Here's the trough that starts to sneak through next week. There it is. See that one right there? That's the one that comes through and makes things so tough the 14th through about the 20th. But it's not just this first push of this trough coming through. That one sweeps through. And the second one here, well, that is the one that's been enhanced by Super Typhoon Hagibis, which this morning is getting ready to hit Japan here on Friday morning. And as that sweeps through, you can see that it drops another deep trough here by the 20th. And as that trough comes in, that brings in a lot more unsettled weather to the western United States. But it's really on the east side where this trough ejects into the Central Plains where things are going to get quite nasty. My point in showing you this is what our temperature patterns will be doing. Days 0 through 5, we're still hanging on to that cooler bias across much of the western region. We do see that the same features kind of hang on days 6 through 10. Remember, that's when the trough trough begins to come into this area. And again, we just can't shake this pattern where we get back into some warmer conditions. So a lot of folks here in the Northwest feel as though winter is here and it's just not going anywhere. And as I take you all the way out to the day 11 through 15, remember that's when that deeper trough gets established. Maybe only California starts to see a rebound in temperatures. But if we can get this to move out here by the time we start the month of November, this will actually, if this trough slides east as it is forecast to do, ridging then comes back in, and that could paint a drier picture. So let's talk about that as we wrap up this forecast video. Getting you out here to the time period ending October. So we're talking about the 19th through the 26th. We'll slowly get on the tail end of that trough, and you do start to see some drier conditions coming into the western part of the United States. And then the models are advertising, as we finish the month of October and get into the beginning of November, drier as well. And remember, that's because that deeper trough is finally going to move east. Look at the wetter conditions we see in the midsection of the country versus the west. So what I'm trying to say is we do have a wetter time period coming next week, but it appears as though we finish up the month of October and get into November, maybe some drier conditions moving in at that time. That would certainly be working against what persistence has given us here in the near term. But we'll keep a close eye on it, keep you updated. I hope you all have a great weekend. Colder weather has kind of seemed to be here to stay for the near term, but get ready for some wetter conditions in the Northwest next week. All right, talk to you soon. Thank you.